Law enforcement officials have been experimenting with a new device that's supposed to show whether suspects are telling the truth. Well, now that device is finding its way into the business world, and we have more on that from our correspondent, Jack Perkins.
Back during the war, intelligence agencies discovered that when a person lies, because he's under stress when he lies, his voice changes somewhat. There are some frequencies of the human voice that disappear when a person is lying. Well, you can't hear that, but a machine can pick it up. And from that discovery came a machine called a stress evaluator, a sort of lie detector, which police departments across the country use. It's a very large machine and very expensive. But now there's a man up in Washington State named Rick Bennett who has invented a small, compact, handy version of that machine, which he says can do the same thing.
You can see the lights going on and off here. When there's red lights, you're under stress, and when there's green lights, there is no stress. It's really, generically, it could be called a truth analyzer, because when you are telling the truth, you are not under stress. Telling a lie induces guilt, which induces stress.
Give us an idea of how someone would use this.
90% of them are presidents of corporations with sales over $10 million. They use it in the negotiation process, A, with labor unions, B, to make sure they're getting the best possible price for major suppliers.
Okay, well, you have a tape recorder hooked up here. Give us an example of how the thing works.
And make a note.
Number one, what is your name, please? My name is Gordon Andrews.
Notice all the red.
Number two, Gordon Andrews.
Very little red, one way down.
Number three, my name is Gordon Andrews.
He had two red lights. Now, it was tough to tell from 2 to 3, but in fact, number 2 was the real Gordon Andrews, and number 1 and 3 were imposters.
You like to have fun with this, I know, looking it up and testing politicians with it. Give us some examples, would you?
Bill of Governor Carter.
By the end of the first 4 years of the next term, we could have the unemployment rate down to 3% adult unemployment, which is about 4 to 4.5% overall. Control the inflation rate and have a balance of growth of about 4 to 6%, around 5%, which would give us a balanced budget.
Those figures were all wrong. He didn't believe it when he said it, and guess what? Reality has shown that those were by no way, it's no stretch of anyone's imagination, achievable goals. Governor Carter was telling us what we wanted to hear, and it looks like he did a good job of it.
Let's be impartial. Let's take a look at a Republican politician. You've got one on videotape, huh?
And that's a very different motive from the motive of attempting to cover up criminal activities of an individual. And so there was no cover-up of any criminal activities. That was not my motive.
Is this fair? I mean, if this device really can determine whether I'm under stress and therefore perhaps whether I'm telling the truth or lying, is that fair for you to use that? Is that a moral question here, Rick?
There is a very big moral question. In the financial field, where money is the ultimate jeopardy, where you and I are together for our own mutual benefit in the financial transaction, there's nothing unfair about this. But if I were Idi Amin and I had this on the desk and I'd say, are you loyal to me? Which would just scare the dickens out of you. And if you said, yes, Idi Amin, I am loyal to you, and all the red lights light up, and I took out a .45 and blew your head off, that is obviously an inappropriate way to use the device. Or if you're my wife.
You're manufacturing a device here that can be used in a way that frightens you.
That is correct, and that's why there are certain people we will not sell to. I told you about one earlier this morning, which I don't think we ought to talk about on the air. It was obviously a marriage that was on the rocks. There was a national figure involved, and I didn't want it on my conscience. I have a whole section in our book, the book I just wrote, saying, do not analyze friends and relatives because there are too many other emotional cross-currents involved. I'm sure Smith & Wesson puts the same warning on their .357 Magnums, but obviously the wrong people can't get their hands on them.
Being in my business, I get a lot of unusual phone calls and propositions to make films and get involved in projects. And I found by analyzing the calls, as an example, or playing back a tape that I might have made at a meeting on a script, I found that not everybody we deal with is truthful.
And I've been really rather frightened of it ever since I got hold of it, because I've always had that feeling that if it works, it's not a very nice thing to have around.
What's going to come of this, Rick? If this machine, although it's expensive now, if this machine really gets out to people and people can really tell when other people are telling the truth or not, with some evidence, what's that going to do to society?
Well, you've got two choices. It will have a tremendous sociological impact. I think we both recognize that. Either there's going to be a renaissance in being candid and speaking truthfully, or there's going to be a renaissance in letter writing.
Jack Perkins, NBC News, at the Haygoth Company, Issaquah, Washington.
Eleanor Holmes Norton of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is in Washington on the spot right after a message.
Know what's in this box? The ultimate convenience food. It's good for pies and cakes, tarts and sauce, dumplings and dowdies, good for snacks with wine and cheese, or just eat it straight. You don't even have to remove the wrapper. Give up? It's an